Toya, Singh. Let's take a quick look first at all of the headlines. All right, holidays first. They are in some ways a child's real school. What do we mean when we say that? Why summer boredom can be a gift for kids? We do a breakdown. We speak to top psychologists and educators to understand how free time, how play can shape your child, how you can encourage them to play further, what the thin line when it comes to screen time is, and the common mistakes Indian parents make during the holidays.
India's flag went up in Monaco and the world took notice. Kush Maini takes Monaco and makes history, and he is with us on the program today to talk about what makes him so calm, so precise and so untouchable on the racetrack. That conversation coming up.
And after that, staying with cars, we have the Kia Clavis. It's a fresh take in the crossover segment. The Kia hopes to break the standing SUV mold, but does it manage to do that? Is it the unconventional crossover that it wants to be? We bring you that breakdown of its performance, of its practicality, and its design.
And since it's Friday, we've got TGI for you. What's hot this weekend? New flicks, the OTT picks that got you hooked up. Also the true crime, K-dramas and fresh thrills that are out on offer. Alright, summer holidays are here, and for most parents this time of the year can feel a little tricky, can feel like a ticking time bomb. One where boredom, screen addiction and overstimulation, they all collide. But pause for a second. What if we told you that this could actually be the most crucial period in your child's life? Not academically, but actually emotionally, socially and psychologically as well. And if you are thinking about enrolling your kid into a dozen hobby classes, summer camps, chasing certificates, well, it's not that really. It's about giving them the space to just be.
Now, whether it's cycling through their own neighborhood, learning how to boil a potato or rice, or helping a grandparent with groceries, traveling maybe back home to their native village or town. Every one of these activities wires the brain differently, building confidence, teaching life skills that no classroom can ever actually teach. A vacation can be one that prioritizes family time, nature, identity, self-exploration over expensive summer camps and digital distractions in cities. We thought we'd break down to you the new models that are emerging across the entire country. Art clubs led by parents, storytelling circles in parks, boredom boot camps that teach kids how to manage time without tech.
So this summer is also a wake-up call for urban families. Now, I know what all of you are going to say, that listen, we have one kid, we have work, now how are we going to manage kids at home? Now, well, this is to tell you that not every child needs a Europe trip. What they really need is our time, our attention, our guidance. Because holidays are not just a break from school, they are a perfect window to raise emotionally intelligent, grounded human beings as well. No pressure, parents.
Let's go over now to our two guests to understand a little bit more. Joining us this morning on the Breakfast Club, we have Dr. Amit Sen. He's one of India's foremost child and adolescent psychiatrists. He's the co-founder of Children First. We're also joined by Harpreet S. Grover. He's an educator, a parenting mentor, and founder of The Curious Parent. Good morning. Thank you both for joining us. Let's go over.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's so lovely to have you, and it's also really just lovely to see such smiling faces early in the morning. Let's go over to Dr. Amit Sen to understand first a little bit from him around our premise. Dr. Sen, every year kids go out and have summer break. It's a standard in Indian schooling for decades now, so nothing new there. But what we want to understand from you is that over the last few decades, there's been a push for productivity. Sending your kids for classes, not just academically. You know, you want your kid to be doing tabla, learning classical Indian music, learning art for the first time. You're raising almost a multi-talented, multi-faceted Picasso at home. And I just want to understand from you what your viewpoint on that is. When parents come to you, do you say none of that? Let them relax at home, let them play. What are your thoughts?
Sure. Thank you, Sonal, for the very well-rounded question already.
That was Toya, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Zoya.
No, don't
I
worry.
can't see the
We
screen,
do
actually.
sound the same sometimes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't see the screen. So, yeah. Hi, Zoya. So, thank you for having me in this forum. Yes, indeed, what happens during holidays, far from being a relaxing time, it ends up being a stressful time. Often, we find both for the parents and the children, because parents get into the summer holidays with this fear that this time will be stressful, the children are going to demand so much, how are we going to keep them busy, and so on. And all the different classes and camps that they're sent to only add to the stress levels and their expectation of performance in those, right? On the other hand, summer holidays really can be a space and a place to explore, to discover, and indeed learning happens best when that space becomes joyful and it becomes a participatory space where children also have their voices heard, choices made, etc. So of course, if a child is passionate, let's say, about art or music or cooking, they can be sent to a 1 week camp if that's what they desire to do. But for parents to plan for this well in advance because they want to keep their children busy and not have too much to do in their lives during this time, that becomes problematic. So we believe that this is a great time, honestly, to build on your relationship with your child, to take them to other family members, take them to nani house, to dadi house, meet uncles, aunts, cousins, so that they feel bonded with other extended family, feel rooted. That sense of belongingness can come from there. And no doubt, if they are given the choice to choose, then your bond with your child increases so much more, because that connection that you have when you end up doing things that your child wants you to do is has no parallel, really. And these are different things that comes to my mind immediately.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dr. Sen, I have to speak for parents, just to rebut you on the point that sending kids to summer camp is not about not spending time with them. The kind of planning required for more classes than school is so much more. If given a choice, and if parents had the time, they would love more time with kids, right? The fact is, offices don't get summer vacations. Our bosses are not going to understand that our kid is home, so we need more time at home, right? So that's the challenge, which is the gap I want to fill. But I know Harpreet is smiling and he is getting, I'm sure, lots of queries from parents like mine who say that, listen, when we grew up, there was a, I mean, we didn't do much. We were just sent off to either a nani house or to my Masi's house and said, listen, go and figure out your life. Parents had nothing to do with us even then. So how is it different now, where this obsession for, oh, we must catch up, we must make the most of the time?
One I want to say what Zoya said, Picasso didn't become Picasso because his parents sent him to camp or sent him to an art class. Picasso became Picasso because he wanted to paint. Yeah. And I think that is a gift we can give back to our child during summer vacations. Now, this is hard for parents who are busy. A friend of mine actually messaged in a group saying, are there any camps in summers that I can send my child to? And I said, why do you want to send a child to camp? Like, her routine, any which is get up in the morning, go to school, come back from school, go to another class, come back, have dinner, sleep on time so that I can go up and get to school again. That is the routine. So why can't you just, let the kid be in summer vacation? And that's it. And she said, but everybody else is sending. There is no other kid which is free that I know of, which actually is fair. So, we see advertisements for camps. We want to send our child to camps, and soon all kids are going to camps. And even if somebody wants to keep their kid free and have unstructured time, there are not enough kids available. And what I suggest to her was, maybe what you're saying is right, but in your entire school group, which is 20-30 parents, and the building group is another 40 parents, maybe you put out a message saying, hey, summer vacations are here. I want our children to just spend time playing without going to any class. And, I want my child to do that. And this is the week out of the 6 weeks I can take care of the kids. Are there other parents who want this for their children? And I'm saying she ended up finding a few parents. And so, we are busy and we need to take out time to plan. But taking out time to plan this where kid can feel more in control of life as opposed to being rushed again to another class. Like the kid knows, yeah, I am doing this because my parents don't have time, right? And like I have to go to a class because I have to fill my time. So I think that is a wonderful idea to be able to do, and it is possible, I think, for every building and for every child and every parent to do.
I love that your idea starts with essentially community parenting. That's essentially what you're talking about, parents coming together, creating a space in which they are each, there's a week in which one parent is working, the other week, a different parent is. It's a beautiful idea.
The challenge
You
is to
can't
find
raise the children
like-minded
alone.
parents.
No, and that's exactly what I want to
Challenge is
take us to. Dr. Sen, I want to ask you this. When you say like-minded parents, what do you mean? And I don't mean to take the words out of your mouth, but often you want parents who are raising their kids with similar principles, similar daily practices too. So when it comes to even the food, if there's a little food that's been arranged for the 10 kids, you want the food to be the food that is similar to the food you're feeding your own child at home. So it's tricky to filter down and find groups of parents who share similar philosophies to you. Dr. Sen, I want to ask you a question related to this but slightly different. When you see parents in Delhi, in Bombay, in Bangalore today, do you think that they have evolved from parents 20 years ago and that there's so much more literature about parenting? Do you think parents have gotten too finicky? What do you observe when it comes to parental trends?
So I do think that parents have become a lot more aware and well-read and invested in the space of parenting.
Yeah.
And I also find a lot of parents making the effort to be able to build that community, not just during holidays, but at other times too. And to that question of yours, Zoya, as to, it takes so much of effort to arrange camps and such, admission to such spaces. I would suggest that use that mind space, that time and that effort to be able to build that community that Harpreet was talking about. It's vital. It also sustains itself. It's not just during holidays, but it will take you and your child through other difficult times, challenges or transitions in their lives. Equally, I would say that, this is a time where one can, build or reconnect with extended family who may not be in the city.
Yeah.
Just like you said in the outset that every child doesn't have to have a, foreign holiday to be able to feel fulfilled. There are things that one can plan, and this is where the investment and the effort comes in from the parent side, well in advance, so that as one parent can take a break in the weekend and take them to somewhere local, which is to do with nature, which is to do with some area of interest for a trek, or maybe a cooking class in the weekend, but it has to be in association or in collaboration with the parent who also joins that joyful activity. I think that is crucial, so that bond builds, so that relationship builds and memories build. You see, when you do things together, you also, as children grow up, take these memories and stories with you. And just like you said in the beginning that, the stories of children's lives otherwise can be very mundane, going to school, doing homework, going to some coaching, etc. But this is a time to actually widen that scope and make their life stories much richer as well, because they must have so many other talents, so many other curiosities, and this is the time to go out there and explore and discover those spaces.
While we're discussing that we shouldn't overpopulate school off or a summer holiday calendar, I'm looking at these wonderful pictures on air and they look real fun. I'm just thinking, maybe from a kid's perspective and being a devil's advocate here, maybe some of these classes are real fun. So am I to take away from Dr. Sen's conversation then, Harpreet, that maybe the activities that you do pick up, and there should be some kind of scheduling at least, can be child-led? This is the one time where the kid can get to decide what is it that they want to spend their time doing, apart from just adults sort of taking a pick for them.
No, so two things, Sonal. One, I think if a child wants to do or learn something, please do encourage that. Obviously, this is the time when they can do it. And I'm seeing the pictures which are on TV. I'm just saying that in all of them, in many of them, you see something which is adult-led. And I'm saying kids can draw themselves, kids can play themselves, kids can learn a lot themselves. And that is very different from being in a class where an adult is supposed to tell them what to do.
Without structure,
These are all fun. These are all fun, The structure is a different kind of fun. Post 12, 13 years, when one is ready to have a mentor or somebody to look up to and follow them and learn from them, great. But before that, it might make sense for a child to be able to pursue their innate curiosity. Just to be able to they do very silly things, and they will draw and do whatever, pura din nikal jayega. You could remember your times in summer vacations. You just don't know what happened. It just flew away. And kiya kya? Kuch bhi nahi kiya. Bas khelte rahe. There was no teacher. So I'm just saying these classes are fun, but they are structured. And there's a difference between being adult-led and being able to pursue your curiosity. And I think the second, which is giving child control of their life, it doesn't come from asking the child, oh, what do you want to do? It doesn't work like this. It comes from saying, it just comes from giving them freedom to choose and let their instinct take over.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
that's what I would say. And I just want to add one
Can I
thing.
understand how? I mean, I didn't really catch the difference between not asking the kid but understanding it. Like, what's the difference?
I'm saying a 9-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, you can ask.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
5-year-old kid or a 4-year-old kid, you don't ask what do you want to do. The child doesn't know. Child's brain is zoo. This child, I'm saying, if there is a remote, he wants to press the button. If there's a mobile, he wants to pick it up. If there's something else, he wants to do this. You put some colors, he will do some colors. So this child, you don't really ask. You put him in an environment where the child can pursue their curiosity.
I see.
That is what right? You just set the environment and let the child be where the child can feel free. And I want to add to this that one big thing that is happening in cities is that the overload on our senses is a lot. The agenda of the world is all pervasive. Even when we go to drop our child to school, let's say in a car or a bus, the only thing that child sees on the road are advertisements all over. The summer vacation, and most of us are afraid for the child to skip school. कि normal छुट्टियां तो नहीं ले सकते. So summer vacation ही एक time है when these holidays are there. So I'm going to suggest something which is anti-family. I'm saying even if one parent has time and work from home is allowed, find a few parents and take a child to a place which is without agenda, which has nature. Because sheep and cows don't want to sell you anything. So take them to a place where there is a stream flowing and you can live in a house and you don't have to wake up and say, आज हमें Tiger Point sightseeing जाना है, आज हमें इधर जाना है, आज हमें उधर जाना है. No. You are there. There are a few kids, there are a few parents, and if there are more kids, you'll be able to do your work as well, ensure internet. But if you can do it for a month, I think the parent will return a different person and the child will return a different person, because the sensory overload will be gone. And all the tantrums we see in children ABCD, I can promise you they would have vanished. And summer vacation is a beautiful time to be able to do that.
This actually ties in very beautifully with the last 2 days where we've just been discussing beautiful places across
where
the
to
country
go.
where you can take your entire family. But Dr. Singh, can we ask you lastly, we've spoken about kids who are, 0 to 5. We've also just spoken about the difference between 0 to 5 and 5 to maybe 10. But I want to understand from you, when kids are 10, 11, 12, so right about to enter their teenage years, but not in their teenage years, what is the kind of communication you encourage parents to have? Because I know at that age, one of the most annoying questions when you go for classes is you come back and your parents say, what did you do? And kids really sometimes don't want to answer that question. They're like, let me go, let me come out. I don't want to talk about it. So I just want to ask you, Dr. Sen, at that crucial age, what's the kind of communication you encourage parents to take? Is it a lead with questions approach or let your kid tell you whatever it is they want to, don't ask questions approach?
So, yes, the lead with the questions approach is a good one, as long as your child is ready for it. Tweens are already getting into adolescence and, they're challenging many things already. So if we become too intrusive or we lecture them, then that doesn't work, no doubt. But taking interest in what they're doing and asking questions, and, when they return from a class or any other space, the first thing to do is to really welcome them warmly and to just enjoy their company to start with, and then begin with the questions if you have any, and make the decisions that you take collaborative. Ask them what they would want to do, then you give your options or the kind of reasons why you are giving the options, and then come to a collaborative decision where you become a party to that, not just the decision making, but especially in the summer holidays, in the activity itself. If you say that, if rap music is what you are getting into, I'd like to know more about it. So shall we explore this? Shall we go to a concert perhaps with you and let you see what this is about? So those are kind of things that we need to do to be able to build that relationship, and that helps them open up more and more. And this is also a crucial stage, because this is the time when kids are exploring their own curiosities, their strengths, their interests, etc. And if we are able to aid them to and guide them into some of these things without again being pushy, then that's a great mix of collaboration, of connection, and also discovering the world around them. So yes, I do believe that that's a very, very crucial stage. Like Harpreet was saying, that I do agree that the unstructured time becomes very important during summer holidays, because otherwise the structure is constantly scaffolding them, isn't it? And when children get free time now, almost all the children will turn around and say, "Oh, I'm bored. What do I do with my time?" And that's precisely what they need to learn to deal with. The boredom, and to be able to think creatively, to think about what is there in their environment which they can choose from. So as parents, we can provide them a space, create perhaps a space, and find spaces where they can be safe, and they have things to work with. The rest of it is up to them, and that freedom, in fact, gives them confidence that I can do something myself. I don't need my parent or another adult to guide me, tell me what to do all the time. That confidence in the creativity comes from that freedom, and that is crucial as well.
All right. So unstructured time, parent-led or child-led approach, and the third one importantly being let them have an actual break from school and let them decide what is it that they really want to do. Those are my three takeaways from this conversation. Take them to nature. Yes, as always. Harpreet, not missing that at all. Thank you both for joining us and shedding light on this topic, which is really making parents sort of, pull their hair out this time of the year. So thank you for joining us and providing such nice, healthy solutions.
Okay, we're going to be heading into a quick break now. We're shifting focus, and now we are taking you to the racetrack. So we are starting from a lovely slow morning talking about children. We're taking you now to a man who has been working since he was 12 years old to make the mark on the world that he has made in the last few days. Kush Maini joins us. He tells us about F2 in Monaco, how he's made history, and what his plans are over the next few years.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
So we have seen a court filing in which the Trump administration has claimed that because of the tariff threat that India-Pakistan were able to have that ceasefire understanding. What is India's stance on that court filing?
Okay. मधु
सर, मधुरेंद्र, मैं न्यूज एशन से। सर, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के ठीक बाद अभी देखा जा रहा है कि पाकिस्तान के जो आतंकी हैं, खासतौर पे लश्कर तैयबा के आतंकी, जिनकी प्रमुख भूमिका जो है पहलगाम आतंकी घटना में रही, वो भारत विरोधी मंच सजा रहे हैं। वहां से भारत को धमकियां दी जा रही हैं, और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि उनके साथ पाकिस्तान की सेना की सुरक्षा दिखाई दे रही है, पाकिस्तान के मंत्री दिखाई दे रहे हैं। इस पर क्या इंडिया रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहेगा?
Sir, Pranay Upadhyay from India Today Aaj Tak. My question is regarding the 3 Indians who are missing in Iran, and this is yet another incident in last few months with Indians have gone missing, and there have been ransom calls. Is the government of India aware about the fact that the ransom calls have been made from Pakistan and people have been asked to deposit money in Pakistani accounts? How are we taking up this issue, and what is the response from the Iranian side?
Okay. Yeshi? This is Yeshi Seli from Business India. I have two questions. One is on the uncertainty and instability in Bangladesh. There was talk of Professor Yunus submitting his resignation, then he had an all-party meeting. Is that a point of concern? And secondly, you had mentioned in the last briefing that there is no update yet on whether PM Modi will go for the G7. But with the new Prime Minister, is there likelihood of restoration of diplomatic ties? What is the situation between India and Canada right now?
Okay. So, पहला सवाल उमा शंकर आपका है. देखिए, जहाँ तक हमारी जो द्विपक्षीय बातचीत या संबंध या जो एंगेजमेंट है पाकिस्तान के साथ, उस पे हमारा पक्ष, हमारा रवैया बड़ा साफ है, क्लियर रहा है, कंसिस्टेंट रहा है. जैसे हमने पहले भी बताया कि कोई भी इस प्रकार का द्विपक्षीय संबंध दोनों देशों के बीच में सिर्फ और सिर्फ बायलैटरल या कि दो पक्षीय ही रहेगा. साथ ही साथ हम ये फिर से दोहराना चाहते हैं कि आतंकवाद और बातचीत दोनों साथ में नहीं चल सकता है. और जहां तक आतंकवाद का सवाल है, उस पे बात इस मुद्दे पे होगी पाकिस्तान से कि जो हम लोगों ने उन आतंकियों का सूची जो दिया था उनको कुछ साल पहले, उनको हमारे हवाले करें. इस बात का मैंने जिक्र पिछले जो प्रेस वार्ता हुआ था उसमें भी किया था. और जहां तक जम्मू कश्मीर का सवाल है, उस पे जो बातचीत होगी द्विपक्षीय रूप से, जो बायलैटरल ढंग से ही बात होगी, वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ इस बात पे होगी कि पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर यानी कि पाकिस्तान अधिकृत कश्मीर को कब का जो पाकिस्तान उसको इलीगल तरीके से, अवैध तरीके से उस पर कब्जा करके बैठा हुआ है, वो उस पे बात होगी कि कब वो उसको खाली करेगा अपना अवैध तरीके से उस पे जो कब्जा है उसको. और जहां तक सिंधु घाटी, सिंधु जल संधि का, इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी का सवाल है, जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी कहा है और फिर मैं दोहराना चाहता हूं कि जब तक पाकिस्तान विश्वसनीय तरीके से अपना जो गतिविधि है आतंकवाद को बढ़ावा देने का, उसको जब तक नहीं खत्म करेगा, तब तक ये संधि जो है अबेंस में यानी कि स्थगित रहेगा. जैसा कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा अपने वक्तव्य में, और उसको मैं दोहराना चाहूंगा कि आतंकवाद और बातचीत दोनों साथ में नहीं चल सकता. आतंकवाद और व्यापार साथ में नहीं चल सकता है, और पानी और खून दोनों साथ में नहीं बह सकता. I would again reiterate this. We have been very clear and consistent in our position. I have said this in the previous presser last week, as also on the press engagement that we had on 13th of
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. Next, we take you to our person of interest. And today, our person of interest is just 24, but last weekend on the streets of Monaco, Kush Maini made motorsport history, and not in a small way. The sprint race at Monaco is one of the toughest tests in Formula 2. There is no room for error, and there are no second chances.
But lap after lap, Kush drove with the calm of a veteran and the fire of someone who's waited his whole life for this moment. He became the first Indian ever. In fact, we did some research. It could actually be the second one, but actually one of the very few Indians who have won F2 race at Monaco. And in this viral moment, sending atop the podium, he was, the national anthem really picked up, and that was played out with the tricolour behind him. Something shifted. We want you to just take a pause and enjoy that, relive that moment one more time. right, so as per tradition, the person who takes the pole position, their national anthem is played out, and this happened with Kush as well. And just we rechecked while you guys are watching that. It's actually the first time ever in the Monaco racetrack that an Indian has won, but overall, 2 Indians only have taken pole position at the F2.
For Indian motorsport and for young racers dreaming of the big leagues, Kush's journey didn't begin here. It began much before the age of even 12. But it's at 12 that he moved to Italy to train. It took him through years of brutal grind from Italian F4 to Formula Renault, from British F3 to the FIA Endurance Championship, before landing a seat with DAMS, DAMS.
And now, with that win in Monaco, Kush Maini is no longer the underdog. He's one to watch. And this morning on The Breakfast Club, he joins us fresh off his win to take us behind the wheels, behind the helmet. Hi Kush, so lovely to have you join us there. I'm hoping, okay, it seems like a small place that he's in there at the moment. But first, we have to ask you, the viral anthem that has gone, it sent chills. We just played it out for our audiences as well. It sent us chills, and it was so proud to have an Indian be there at the helm of a motorsport. I'm sure it meant super special to you. Could you describe that moment for us?
No, I think the last 3 laps, really, I was just thinking about the national anthem. This has been my main motivation, really. I'm very prideful that way, and yeah, crossing the line was just an amazing feeling, and to do it at such an iconic circuit as well, Monaco, and being the first Indian to win there, and have our national anthem play loud across the streets is honestly an unreal feeling, and yeah, a moment I'll never forget for the rest of my life, to be honest.
I'm sure.
Kush, you come from a family of racers. So tell us a little bit about what it was like, specifically with your brother, your older brother. Tell us about what it's like to be, you know, in competition, but also best friends with, to have an older brother like that. Do you share tips? Do you get competitive? What is it like?
Of course, it's a very interesting one. So obviously my dad used to race at a lower level. Arjun got into racing, and he sort of had only eyes for racing, and he was very, very good, and he still is very good. I took my time to get a bit better. So the first few years, really from like 7 to 10 years old, I was just watching Arjun win everything and getting all the attention. So I was getting jealous, and then that was my main motivation to try and beat him. We were very competitive at a young age, and honestly, that's sort of one thing that's pushed us both further. We pushed each other, and that was great. And yeah, when I was 10 probably, and I won my first race, that's when I took it more seriously. Until then, I was always into different sports, and but obviously with racing, you know, we have to go to Europe to improve our skills, because that's where all the competition is. So it's a big decision, and if you really are sure you want to pursue racing, you got to leave everything at home and go live alone in Europe. So it's a big decision, and I feel that decision came a bit later for me. But yeah, I would say that dynamic between me and my brother has changed so much. You know, now I see him as a little bit of like a giver, and I just I try and you know, take his advice on anything, and ask him questions. I text him almost every day, and he's the first one I reach out to if I have any issues.
Beautiful. This is clearly a family that takes motorsport very, very seriously. So I want to ask you, how was moving alone at just the age of 12 to Italy all like? And what did you pick up in the process?
No, I mean, it's a big part of my life, obviously, moving when you're 12 alone, not speaking the language, the culture is so different. And you know, trying to find your own feet. I had great people around me, always great humans, and obviously when I was in those initial years, you know, racing was definitely not popular, especially like with the kids of color on the track, and I faced some negative responses, some racism, blah blah blah, which really shaped me as a person, and I think that's why I'm so prideful today, because it really caused anxiety in my early years. Even going out anywhere in Europe used to give me anxiety, and because when you're young and you go through something like that, it's quite defining. But I feel like we've come through that, and that's one of the reasons I was so proud to hear our national anthem as well.
Wow. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what it's like in the present day now. Tell us, in India, we all feel like we know the ins and outs of racing because you have shows like Drive to Survive. Now people follow F1 so closely. But what does a show like that get wrong?
No, I think Drive to Survive, first of all, is a great initiative. It's got a lot more people into our sport, but yeah, it is very different in real life. In real life, I feel you're more in your bubble. There's not so much drama, to be honest. And obviously, the radio messages and stuff is not how it is shown in Drive to Survive. I think drivers all have a lot of respect for each other at this level, and yeah, so you're sort of in your own bubble. Like prep days like this, you're just sitting in your truck, prepping, doing interviews, and you don't really see a lot of people throughout the day. So it's quite nothing really happens. So I would say it's a lot more boring in real life. So Drive to Survive does add some spice to it.
I see, but you talked about being in a bubble. We would love to get into your head for a little bit and understand, is there a particular ritual that makes you so calm with the sport which is so high on speed and rush?
But I always look at Hanumanji. I'm a big believer in Hanumanji, and he's always, I feel him always with me, and he's helped me through so many tough times and made me a better person. So I have to look at him and just say Jai. I read the Hanuman Chalisa every night. So those are probably the two rituals I do.
Nice. How wonderful. Okay, Kush, take us now from behind the wheel to beyond the wheel. When you have free time, what do you love to do with it?
I think Netflix is always a good one. I love horror movies, but I'm not brave enough to watch them alone. So I need some friends with me. But yeah, I would say just a movie or a TV show to take your mind off things. Some meditation as well, I think really helps. Obviously in our sport, everything comes at you really fast. So just taking that time and not getting burnt out before the weekend starts, you got to have that time to just relax. So yeah, I would say alone time and just either speaking to my girlfriend as well, that calms me down, or I would say watching something on Netflix or a movie as well.
That's sweet. Netflix and chill is the vibe for Kush Maini. But clearly, is there a quality perhaps now that you have such great global exposure that you're still looking to imbibe?
I would say, the teachings of Hanumanji, his qualities in a way, being humble and having so much strength but never needing to show off or show it. I would say that's one thing which I'm working towards. So the best way I can say it is through Hanumanji, but there's obviously many racing drivers and sports people that do embody that. But I would say that's probably the one thing I'm going after, and also just to become a better human being overall, because racing is just a small part of me, and yeah, I definitely want to grow as a person and become a better person every day.
Okay, speaking about your growth and the development you want to see in yourself, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Is it with a bunch of racing titles? Do you see it as something else?
Racing. I think I love it, and I don't think I can live without it. So, yeah, it's too far. The old Kush would have loved this question, but I'm starting to try and live it day by day. So, 10 years is a bit far. I'm just enjoying the moment now and then seeing where it takes me.
Nice. At the moment, Kush, the entire motorsport scene in India is at a cusp of sorts. It's just about picking up. We, a couple of days ago, actually interviewed Atika Mir as well, an young Indian racer. She's also trying to get together funds, trying to get everybody to talk about it, also being a female racer. Do you have advice for kids who are just getting on the scene?
Ooh, that's a very deep question and a tough one. I would say you're going to have in this sport at least, or in most sports, more bad days than good days. I've definitely had more bad days than good days, and I've thought of stopping like thousands of times because I just don't see it going anywhere. But looking back now and looking where I am at now, it just shows that it's never really over until it's over. And the struggles I've gone through, like F1 was probably a 1% chance for me 4 years ago, and now it's a lot higher. So anything can happen, and just keep believing in yourself and keep doing what makes you happy. I think the day me getting in the car and driving doesn't make me happy, I'm going to stop, because it's a short life, and you shouldn't waste it on something you don't enjoy.
Sound advice.
Kush, thank you. Thank you for bringing such sincerity, such honesty, such just earnestness to your answers. You made all of us very, very proud. You know that just a few days ago with your achievement. But here's wishing you all the best of luck for the F1 too. Thank you for joining us. Okay. We're going to move on from that now. What a
lovely story and lovely inspiration as well.
And just what a great energy. It's so nice when you have,
and I like how he draws from India, he draws from Hanuman, he draws from other places as well. So really keeping rooted while having moved abroad so early in life. But let's take a pause from that and take you through some other stories coming in from India and across the globe. A hoarse voice, a throat pain, diarrhea, mild stomach cramps and fever are currently the most commonly reported COVID-19 symptoms in hospitals, outpatient departments, the OPD across India. Chandigarh reports the first death. Mumbai has recorded 36 new infections, while hospitals are now not observing any significant rise in ICU admissions directly attributable to COVID-19. There has been a sharp increase in OPD visits, however. Over the past 10 days, patient footfall has surged by 3 to 4 times, indicating a noticeable uptick in mild to moderate cases. And currently circulating variants, primarily JN.1 NB181, which is also the sublineage of Omicron, which we are vaccinated against. Remember, if you are, that is, and associated with high transmissibility but relatively mild clinical manifestations in general population.
And now let's move quickly to the world of cricket, when what turned out to be a humiliating night for PBKS, the RCB effortlessly overwhelmed the host to secure a dominant 8-wicket victory in Qualifier 1 on Thursday, booking their spot in the IPL 2025 final. With the 3 wickets hauls from Josh Hazlewood, Suyash Sharma and a fiery unbeaten 56 from 27 balls by Phil Salt, Punjab Kings never had a chance to fight back. Aiming for the first ever trophy, both table toppers had everything at stake. Fortune initially favoured the Bengaluru side, who won the toss and chose to bowl first, a decision that obviously now we can see proved very beneficial.
All right, moving on to Wall Street, but this is not about the markets at all. It's about weddings. Now, weddings in India, we know, are a grand affair. The ceremony is marked by vibrant venues, lavish decor, elaborate rituals, and you must have witnessed fancy Bharat processions as well on Indian streets, where the DJ plays out loud music as the attendees dance their hearts out. But if you encountered a similar boisterous procession at Wall Street in the heart of New York City, what would your reaction be? Would you enjoy the spectacle or just get irked by the public commotion? Recently, this very viral video depicting a similar scenario has raised questions about the cultural expression and public impact of such grand celebrations. The video has been shared by professional DJ artist on Instagram saying, "You won't believe what just happened. We shut down Wall Street for a 400-person Bharat," he claimed in the clip. Is that a yay or a nay? We leave it up to you.
And then we talk about the beauty business acquisition that everyone is talking about. Model Hailey Bieber's makeup and skincare brand Rhode has been snapped up by Elf Beauty for $1 billion, giving the budget cosmetic retailer access to a celebrity-endorsed product line that has become very, very popular among Gen Z and millennials. Elf has said it will pay Rhode shareholders $800 million in a combination of cash and stock, and a potential earnout consideration of $200 million. This brings Rhode into the league of both Rare Beauty and Fenty Beauty. Last month, Reuters reported that Bieber was exploring a sale of the brand, which could be worth, as we've just said, more than $1 billion.
Staying with the world of fashion, Dior, the fashion brand that is part of the French luxury giant LVMH, said on Thursday that Maria Grazia has left the job as creative director of its women's collection, a post she had held since 2016. Now, her departure is likely to pave the way for Jonathan Anderson as a replacement. Anderson, who left LVMH's smaller label on March 17th, is one of the new generation of designers taking over some of the world's biggest fashion labels amid the sweeping industry overall. He's due to create a June collection for the Dior's men fashion, and the CEO of LVMH also confirmed that last month. However, the spokesperson for Dior declined to comment on any succession plans, leaving the entire story in a limbo.
And then we take you to the SVA Theatre in Manhattan that turned into a dojo of sorts as the latest installment of Karate Kid had its New York premiere. So what you had is young troops of aspiring karate masters, there you go, lining up to perform for the evening as well as cheer on the cast and the crew. But the largest cheers were for Jackie Chan, who is returning to Karate Kid, there you go, as Mr. Han. And for the first time, Chan is appearing in the series alongside Ralph Macchio, whose Daniel LaRusso took center stage in the earlier Karate Kid movies that, remember, the first of which released back in 1984.
Moving on, experts expect the collapse of a large chunk of glacier that submerged most of the Swiss village of Balten under water, mud and rock, and could be a dramatic example of climate change impact on the Alps. Here's a report.
Most of the Swiss village of Blatten was seen submerged under water, mud and rock on Thursday. It comes a day after a large chunk of a glacier came crashing down a mountain, engulfing some 90% of the village. Blatten's 300 residents had already been evacuated earlier in May, after part of the mountain behind the Birk Glacier began to crumble. Rescue teams have continued looking for a missing 64-year-old man, but have so far found nothing. A spokesperson for local authorities said that buildings which had emerged intact from the landslide are now flooded, and that some residents of neighboring villages had been evacuated as a precaution. Some experts have warned of the risks of flooding, as vast mounds of debris are clogging the path of the river Lonza, causing a huge lake to swell amid the wreckage.
The images are just really, really shocking.
Mylene Jackmar is a glaciologist.
Over the course of the past 2 weeks or so, there was a large rock instability that developed above the glacier. So there's a mountain and, rock started falling off the mountain and depositing on the glacier.
While Jackmar cannot say for certain whether climate change was the underlying cause of this event, she said it's one of the main drivers behind big changes in the mountains.
What we know is that, climate change at high elevations is not favorable for rock slope stability. So with increasing temperatures, more water available through ice and snow melt, maybe precipitation falling, even high elevations more often as rain than as snow. So those are factors that are not beneficial to mountain stability.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
So we have seen a court filing in which the Trump administration has claimed that because of the tariff threat that India-Pakistan were able to have that ceasefire understanding. What is India's stance on that court filing?
Okay. मधु
सर मधुरेंद्र मैं न्यूज एशन से। सर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के ठीक बाद अभी देखा जा रहा है कि पाकिस्तान के जो आतंकी हैं, खासतौर पे लश्कर-ए-तैयबा के आतंकी, जिनकी प्रमुख भूमिका जो है पहलगाम आतंकी घटना में रही, वो भारत विरोधी मंच सजा रहे हैं, वहाँ से भारत को धमकियां दी जा रही हैं और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि उनके साथ पाकिस्तान की सेना की सुरक्षा दिखाई दे रही है, पाकिस्तान के मंत्री दिखाई दे रहे हैं। इस पर क्या इंडिया रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहेगा?
Sir, Pranay Upadhyay from India Today Aaj Tak. My question is regarding the 3 Indians who are missing in Iran, and this is yet another incident in last few months with Indians have gone missing, and there have been ransom calls. Is the government of India aware about the fact that the ransom calls have been made from Pakistan and people have been asked to deposit money in Pakistani accounts? How are we taking up this issue, and what is the response from the Iranian side?
Okay, Yeshi.
This is Yeshi Seli from Business India. I have two questions. One is on the uncertainty and instability in Bangladesh. There was talk of Professor Yunus submitting his resignation, then he had an all-party meeting. Is that a point of concern? And secondly, you had mentioned in the last briefing that there is no update yet on whether PM Modi will go for the G7. But with the new Prime Minister, is there likelihood of restoration of diplomatic ties? What is the situation between India and Canada right now?
Okay, so पहला सवाल उमा शंकर आपका है। देखिए, जहाँ तक हमारी जो द्विपक्षीय बातचीत या संबंध या जो एंगेजमेंट है पाकिस्तान के साथ, उस पे हमारा पक्ष, हमारा रवैया बड़ा साफ है, क्लियर रहा है, कंसिस्टेंट रहा है। जैसे हमने पहले भी बताया कि कोई भी इस प्रकार का द्विपक्षीय संबंध दोनों देशों के बीच में सिर्फ और सिर्फ बायलैटरल या कि दो पक्षीय ही रहेगा। साथ ही साथ हम ये फिर से दोहराना चाहते हैं कि आतंकवाद और बातचीत दोनों साथ में नहीं चल सकता है, और जहां तक आतंकवाद का सवाल है, उस पे बात इस मुद्दे पे होगी पाकिस्तान से।
All right, welcome back, and now it's time for your weekend plan. The weekend's knocking, and that means it's time to hit play on the best of film, OTT and city buzz. So from horror thrillers and martial arts nostalgia to quirky Punjabi comedies and true crime drops, there is something for every single person this Friday.
So let's not wait any further and figure out what the weekend planner has in store for you. This is Kaveri with the lowdown.
Hello, you're watching Thank God It's Friday with your dost Kaveri Gupta. A brand new week means fresh stories lining up the big screen. Each film brings its own flavor, some heartwarming, others spine-chilling. Whether you are heading to the theatre with your family, friends or flying solo, one thing's for sure, you will be entertained. So let's check out what's hitting the theatres this week. First up, we have Bring Her Back, one of the most anticipated horror films of the year. Story follows a grieving mother who performs a dark ritual to bring her daughter back to life. A haunting take on the horror of loss. This one's not for the faint-hearted. Next in line is packed with action and nostalgia. Karate Kid's legends. Kung Fu prodigy Li Fong finds himself in New York, drawing the attention of a local karate champion. With guidance from the iconic Mr. Han and Daniel LaRusso, he enters the ultimate karate championship. Last but not the least, Sonkan Sonkane 2, this Punjabi comedy sequel directed by Sameep Kang, sees the return of Amy Work, Sargun Mehta and Nimrat Khera. Full of laughter, chaos and quirky family dynamics, it's a delightful watch for fans of regional cinema. Now let's see what's brewing on the OTT platforms. On number 1, we have Cold Case, the Tylenol Murders. Streaming on Netflix, true crime fans, this is a must-watch. This 3-part documentary revisits the shocking 1982 murders in Chicago when tempered capsules led to 7 deaths. Next is Kankhajura, streaming on Sony Live. A man walks free after serving time for murder, only to find the outside world has changed in ways he couldn't imagine. This gripping thriller promises suspense and emotion in equal measure. On number 3 is Good Boy on Prime Video. What happens when former Olympic medalists swap the podium for police badges. This K-drama follows their journey into law enforcement as they form an unconventional squad tackling violent crimes. And now let's take you to the ground because there's more to explore this weekend. Mumbai is grooving this Sunday to the tunes of Himesh Reshammiya and Rekha Bharadwaj. Grab your dancing shoes because it's going to be a night to remember. And finally, it's here. Lego fans in India can rejoice as the official Lego certified store opens in Gurugram. With a desi twist featuring a local truck, a cricketer in the Indian jersey, and even the India Gate in Lego form, this one's a must visit. Book lovers, we have something for you too. Lock the Box book fair in Mumbai. Choose a box, fill it with as many books as you can. Pay just once and walk away with your very own library. Well, that's a wrap. I'll see you next Friday with more cinematic treats, binge-worthy shows and events you won't want to miss. Until then, this is me, Kaveri Gupta, signing off. Stay safe, stay curious and keep that popcorn ready. Ciao!
Alright, with that we are drawing this episode and this week's episodes to a close. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again Monday. Until then, please keep sending us your feedback and tell us what are you doing with your kids this summer break.
Bye-bye.
Brought to you by... This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
So we have seen a court filing in which the Trump administration has claimed that because of the tariff threat that India-Pakistan were able to have that ceasefire understanding. What is India's stance on that court filing?
Okay. मधु
सर, मधुरेंद्र, मैं न्यूज़ एशियन से। सर, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के ठीक बाद अब ये देखा जा रहा है कि पाकिस्तान के जो आतंकी हैं, खासतौर पे लश्कर तैयबा के आतंकी, जिनकी प्रमुख भूमिका जो है पहलगाम आतंकी घटना में रही, वो भारत विरोधी मंच सजा रहे हैं। वहां से भारत को धमकियां दी जा रही हैं और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि उनके साथ पाकिस्तान की सेना की सुरक्षा दिखाई दे रही है, पाकिस्तान के मंत्री दिखाई दे रहे हैं। इस पर क्या इंडिया रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहेगा?
So Pranay Upadhyay from India Today Aaj Tak. My question is regarding the 3 Indians who are missing in Iran, and this is yet another incident in last few months with Indians have gone missing, and there have been ransom calls. Is government of India aware about the fact that the ransom calls have been made from Pakistan and people have been asked to deposit money in Pakistani accounts? How are we taking up this issue, and what is the response from the Iranian side?
Okay. Yeshi?
This is Yeshi Seli from Business India. I have 2 questions. One is on the uncertainty and instability in Bangladesh. There was talk of Professor Yunus submitting his resignation, then he had an all-party meeting. Is that a point of concern? And secondly, you had mentioned in the last briefing that there is no update yet on whether PM Modi will go for the G7. But with the new Prime Minister, is there likelihood of restoration of diplomatic ties? What is the situation between India and Canada right now?
Okay. So, पहला सवाल उमा शंकर आपका है। देखिए, जहाँ तक हमारी जो द्विपक्षीय बातचीत या संबंध या